I'm back. This is Prophet Samuel, and I just want to introduce myself to you guys out there who do not know me. So, I've been thinking about some things that have been happening lately, and I keep hearing in my spirit self-evaluation. So tonight my topic is about self-evaluation. First, when we talk about self-evaluation, out of my own interpretation, the first thing that always comes to my mind is you got to examine yourself. You got to be that man be that woman in the mirror. Okay, I believe it is Michael Jackson who sing the song, says that there's a man in the mirror. Oh yeah, I'm asking him to change his way, and now it's singing in the mirror. The better please take a look at yourself and make a change. Yeah, so when I think about self-evaluation, I always thinking about first you have to examine yourself. And so I was doing some research about self-evaluation. There are many quotes or meanings and understanding that we could look up and to find what is the right message to bring forth. So while in my research, I started to look at a lot of stuff, and in the meantime I wanted to come and just talk to everyone about self-evaluation. But it's always good to bring something important to the table. It's always good to look for the correct words, and it's also important to do your study and your research. So what I found in this, some of it pretty much interested, and I hope it can help someone out there in this last trying time, because I know many of us are going through something where you have to stop and you gotta check yourself before you wreck yourself. It may not be clear to those who of us who do not enjoy talking about ourselves. Many of us do not try to sit down and evaluate ourselves. But there are many benefits in self-evaluations. There is many benefits in self-evaluation and assessment. Oftentimes, if you dared your annual performance review, you are not alone. First thing, we gotta understand this, right? We are not alone. And sometimes that can be a pressure in many of us, because we believe that we are alone. That's why it is really good. And what I find interesting when we are doing a self-evaluation, we oftentimes, I would say we, but I can't speak for everyone. Me, I oftentimes try to find a place where it's quiet, where I have to start to ask the Lord a question, and I have to start to ask the Lord, and I have to start to say back words that the Bible have taught me when I read it. When it comes to being alone, I always try to remember myself, God, you say that you will never leave me nor forsake me. So first we gotta understand that we are not alone. Okay? The chance or that your manage is equal, right? You gotta know that you're trying to manage an equal value with yourself, right? You have to try to value yourself equally, right? And you cannot compromise, right? You cannot compromise, what you are going through. You cannot live in a self environment where you're gonna start to compromise and go crazy. In other words, you understand? The pressure may be there or whatsoever is happening in the time, but you cannot compromise. You have to have a balance in examine yourself. You cannot put yourself in a box, right? Because if you put yourself in a box, your reward is only gonna be a punishment, right? You cannot punish yourself as being alone when you're doing self-evaluation. You have to listen to that open and to that still small voice in your time when you're examining yourself. Self-evaluation, more regular discussion, or the new meaningful and resourceful ways of self-evaluation, just like your job, right? Managing employees, right? Managing employee reviews in your recent activities. Many companies have detached the annual appraisal, all right, in favor of more regular continuous feedback. The evaluation of self-evaluation has been a big part of this shift, right? And now self-assessment is proven for more successful in its outcoming than the annual review, right? So just put that out in just another I would say another definition of self-evaluation. And first, when I heard in my spirit self-evaluation, excuse me, I did not know what it was saying. I don't know what was going on in my ears, but I said, what is self-evaluation? That's a question that we have to ask ourselves when we keep on hearing things in our spirit. What is self-evaluation? Self-evaluation, simple put, self-evaluation is the ability to examine yourself, like I stated before, right? To find out how much progress you have made. We have to do that. Self-evaluation, we have to think about it real deeply. It is a ability to examine yourself, right? To find out how much progress you have made. It requires, again, employees to monitor their own abilities, okay, and evaluate strength and weakness. It puts employees largely in charge of their own development. For those who work for a company, working for someone out there, and sometimes you do not even have to be working for someone to have self-examination. You do not have to be working for a company to examine yourself. In these last days and trying time is where we have to examine ourselves. Where did I go wrong? What did I do? And I believe the answer we gonna receive in examining ourselves, doing a self-evaluation, is also you have to pray. We have to pray for an answer. What are the benefits you and I want to receive? Okay, whether it is for ourselves, for our workplace, for the Lord, whether it is for wherever your occupancy is, wherever you whatever position you occupy, you have to have self control. It's tough, but you have to evaluate yourself, okay? Importantly, especially as I said before, for those who have working for someone, okay, importantly, when employees feel hard thoughts, okay, the self-evaluation proceed, they are more likely to listen to feedback from their managers. All right. The process become much more of a two-way decision when it resolve around regular self-evaluation. All right. The benefits of self-evaluation and assignment, you know, the benefit greatly from employment, from employee self-assessment. When an employee self-evaluate, managers are able to gain insight into how employees feel about their work and how they fit into their team. They can get a real sense of how employee view their job. Okay, just think about how you evaluate yourself, how you do a self evaluation as Christian. Don't you believe that God is watching you to see how greatly you are examining yourself? He is watching you, just as how your manager, your supervisors, your friends may be watching you. He is watching you. And especially for Christians, we have to learn how to conduct ourselves. The Bible always teaching us, you know, how to be the salt of the earth. Because you cannot lose your taste, right? It must be a reason. Salt have taste. Salt is very important in cooking. How can you cook? How can you bake? How can you season in your meat without salt? What kind of flavor are you going to get from it? The Bible said that we are the salt of the earth, right? We are the salt of the earth. But if we lose our taste, we are no more salty, right? The Bible also say again that it's either we're gonna be hot or cold. Which one are you gonna do? You can't be lukewarm, because if you are lukewarm, what is gonna happen to you? God said that I will spew you out. So we have to learn to have a balance in everything that we do. Examine yourself, man and woman of God. Examine yourself on your job, so your manager can see that you have made this company a better place. Examine yourself so your overseer, your pastor, your bishop, your elder, your brothers and your sisters can see that you have sit down and self-evaluation and have a self-evaluation. There's many benefits in self-evaluation, right? And I do not want to be too much religious about self-evaluation. But a godly woman and a godly man should have self-evaluation, should know how to conduct themselves, should know how to examine themselves. And when you do that, I guarantee you, you'll be sitting down and you will be sitting beside kings and queen. Humble yourself. Humble yourself. Relax. Know when to speak. Know when not to speak. Examine yourself so you can be exalted in due season. I could go very longer with this topic tonight. I could go a very long way. But if you want to see your benefits in self-assessment, you have to examine yourself. Peace out, one love, and I'm praying for you. Make sure you're praying for me.